Alright, so I'm in the car today because I want to talk about two technologies or products that would be better off manual instead of automatic. And the reason why I'm in the car is because I think that the automatic transmission is one of the worst technologies ever to be produced. I think it harms us way more than it helps us. For the main reason is when you have an automatic transmission, you can have one hand empty for the majority of when you're driving. When you have a manual, both of your feet are being used and both of your hands are being used most of the time. So there's no opportunity for distractions. But with an automatic, you have that empty hand, so you can have distractions most of the time. So I think that's why we have many accidents, because most people are distracted. You can't text and drive when you're driving a manual. You can with an automatic, so it's a safety hazard. With these technologies that are automatic, basically what's happening is you're giving all the intelligence and the technology to the product and not into yourself. With any analogs or manuals, it's still smart, you're still using this tool, but most of the intelligence is still with yourself. Like with a manual typewriter, all the intelligence is in your brain, and the only thing you're thinking about is writing with the keys. The smarter we make technology, the dumber we get as people, because all the intelligence is being given to the product or the technology, and the intelligence can be taken from us. So somebody who walks around with earbuds in their ears, who has a cell phone and is talking to somebody, or drives around with an automatic transmission in a car, doesn't really have a lot of intelligence in their head. It's completely dependent on their products for the intelligence. The more intelligence we give to these products and technologies, the more dependent we become on the products and technologies. Whereas if we had analog technologies or more manual devices, we will still have intelligence in our own head and we still be independent. For instance, if you put somebody who only learned a manual car or manual transmission and you put them in an automatic car, they would know how to drive immediately. It would be a lot easier, but they would still know how to drive. If you put somebody in an automatic car who only learned an automatic car and put them in a manual car, they would not know how to drive. And it would be very challenging. So that explains why somebody who learns an automatic car is depending on that technology to be able to drive, which is good and bad. It's leaving less of a burden on yourself and your intelligence to be able to drive, but it makes you more dependent on that technology. It gives you less control as well. Like with these vintage manual lenses I've been buying like crazy, because you can get them for so cheap. Usually I get them for like 30 bucks on eBay. But with those, everything is manual. Like with your cell phone, it focuses for you automatically, autofocus. But with these, everything's manual. The aperture is manual, how much light is coming in is aperture, and the focus is manual as well. But with the vintage lenses is that they were built for film cameras, 35mm film cameras back in the 80s, 60s. The oldest one I have, which I just got, is all metal. It creates an image that's so fantastic and beautiful, and it's all metal. This construction is so well designed that they intended for it to last up into here probably. And everything's manual, so you have more control on the image you're getting. Just like a manual transmission, you have more control on how you're driving. You are more independent from that technology rather than dependent. Someone who only learns on a camera that has autofocus would not know how to focus without the autofocus. They're dependent on that technology. But with me, when I have learned how to use manual focus and to film with manual focus, I still know how to use autofocus. So I'm more rounded than somebody who's only learned how to use autofocus, if that makes sense.